On the other side, Jiang Cheng and Nie Huaisang chased the piece of drawing paper all over the yard. Wei Wuxian, holding the two drawings that had been stuffed into his arms before leaving, also ran out after them. By the lotus pond, two figures were chatting leisurely. Zhang Fengmian was guiding Lan Qiren along the way, while pointing to the flowers scattered all over the garden. The back garden was carefully tended by a specialist, featuring many rare and exotic flowers and plants seldom seen. Lan Qiren stroked his beard, appreciating the sight and nodding approvingly. The sudden gust of wind by the lake was very strange. It blew this way and that, carrying the drawing paper for a while. Then the paper brought Jiang Cheng and Nie Huaisang along for a run, and at last Wei Wuxian followed behind, still muttering the word mian mian with the face full of reminiscence. The swift and unpredictable wind took a whirl, and as if pulled by some invisible force, the paper flew unerringly right onto someone's face. That person pondered for a moment before pulling the drawing paper off, revealing a face with a goatee. Lan Qiren's hand holding the paper trembled slightly. Jiang Cheng and Nie Huaisang ran swiftly in the gust, spotting two figures standing motionless in the distance. Both were staring at a drawing, equally shocked. Jiang Cheng and Nie Huaisang slowed down. The paper had been laid down. It was Lan Qiren's face. They stopped. Lan Qiren's face was full of astonishment and doubt as he looked around, seemingly searching for the culprit. Jiang Cheng and Nie Huaisang silently turned around, then quietly strolled forward as if nothing had happened. From afar, Wei Wuxian ran over absent-mindedly, waving to them. "Hey, have you found it? Where did the drawing go?" Nie Huaisang coughed softly, pretending not to hear. Jiang Cheng also coughed and pointed backward. Nie Huaisang glanced at him, clearly thinking it was a little mean, but did not stop him. Wei Wuxian said, "Are you two possessed? Where is it?" "Fine. If you're not going to look for it, I'll go by myself." In the distance, Lan Qiren squinted his eyes, seeing a small, dark figure running toward them. Jiang Cheng and Nie Huaisang looked back one last time. Wei Wuxian's figure running forward appeared heroic. Then a familiar low roar sounded. "Wei Ying!" Jiang Cheng and Nie Huaisang broke into a run. Then a scream rang out. "Mr. Lan? That drawing I don't recognize. I really... Huh? These two I don't recognize either. How did they get into my arms? Who stuffed them to me? Let me think about it." "Jiang Cheng, Nie Huaisang, you two traitors." No, Mr. Lan. Please calm down, you. You don't have to draw your sword." "Help, help, help, Uncle Jiang." Wei Wuxian knelt down again. Lan Wangji was summoned to the sword testing hall to identify 3 drawings. The commotion in the sword testing hall was very familiar. Lan Wangji glanced at Wei Wuxian kneeling on the ground, who bit the corner of his lip, and glanced at him secretly, his forehead practically written with the word guilty. Lan Qiren half closed his eyes, sitting beside Zhang Fengmian, his face showing a brief peace after the storm where all worldly matters felt empty. He looked up at Lan Wangji and lightly waved to a disciple beside him. The disciple handed a few pieces of drawing paper to Lan Wangji, who was slightly suspicious in his heart but said nothing, obediently took them and silently scanned the drawings. Then his eyes widened. The first drawing depicted a person with a white ribbon tied around the forehead, with a handsome and cold appearance like frost and snow. Every detail from hair strands to the seam on the clothes was meticulous and flawless. The person sat upright behind a desk. Lan Wangji's expression was not as excited as Lan Qiren's, but seemed stunned and dazed by the impact. He looked at the first drawing with wide eyes and slightly parted lips. Upon seeing the second, his eyes widened a bit more. Flipping to the third, his chest began to rise and fall slightly. Lan Qiren could not stand it any longer and snatched the lewd drawing away from his hand. Only then did Lan Wangji come back to his senses. His eyes involuntarily darted toward Wei Wuxian, fixing on him for a while, eyelashes trembling slightly. His disbelief was tinged with some confusion, as if harshly bullied, somewhat pitiable, yet also as if forcibly to see the world he didn't know before, feeling lost. Wei Wuxian found it somewhat amusing, interesting, so Lan Zhan's reaction upon seeing his erotic scroll was like this. He didn't know what Lan Zhan thought in his heart. As if possessed, he sent Lan Wangji a glance, winked, and whispered, "Well painted, isn't it?" Suddenly, a thunderous shout echoed through the hall. Wei Wuxian's heart and soul were shaken violently. Smiling faintly, regaining composure, he found that Lan Qiren frowned with wrath, his beard standing like spears. He ripped the drawing into two, with a slash sound, then tore it into 4, then 8, then 16 pieces, and kept ripping further. Every movement Lan Qiren made, raising a hand or lifting a foot, was like he couldn't vent his boundless anger. Amidst the swirling paper confetti, Wei Wuxian sighed softly. What a pity. Such a fine painting, though at first he loudly claimed it would defile Lan Wangji. Once the artwork was done, the more he looked at it, the more he liked it. Watching it, everyone would appreciate it and offer some praise. Why did Lan Qiren feel it was an insult? Such erotic pictures of an icy beauty? Even a man couldn't help but be moved by it. The fault lay in the Lan family's old-fashionedness ingrained to the bone. They couldn't even appreciate art. The icy beauty torn into shreds floated down onto Lan Qiren, but he acted like they were some filthy things, roughly brushing his sleeves to shake off the pieces onto the ground, stepping back 3 feet. Wei Wuxian went on thinking, to see the pure cabbage fall into someone else's lewd fantasies, depicted in such a sentimental, scandalous way. This hot scene was probably something Lan Qiren would never forget in his life. The bigger his reaction, the more it proved the art was excellent. Thinking this way, Wei Wuxian squinted almost tight enough to find no seam in his eyes. With a crooked, playful smile on his lips, this expression captured by Lan Wangji's eyes, whose face was cold and unreadable, whether startled or annoyed, his knuckles curled, sleeves fluttered slightly, and his gaze unexpectedly landed on Wei Wuxian's chest. Wei Wuxian thought he had woken up and was about to explode in anger, and finally couldn't help but want to kill him. He instinctively moved back while kneeling, only to hear the others speak with some surprise. "You're hurt?" Wei Wuxian felt awkward under his stare and covered his chest with his hand. "Ah, just scratched by a fox. Really, it was that little beast's fault. Without it, nothing would have happened." Lan Wangji, at a time like this, still cared about such a trivial matter as Wei Wuxian's scratched skin. Lan Qiren was almost at his wit's end. His face darkened. He yelled loudly, pushing Lan Wangji aside and away from this troublemaker Wei Wuxian, then lifted his head and started another round of speeches at Zhang Fengmian. So, Wei Wuxian knelt again inside the ancestral hall. The young ladies heard he was punished, gathered in a circle around the yard, watching from a distance. Yesterday it was erotic paintings. Today it's the same again. This young Master Wei really is. Yesterday was bought paintings. Today he drew it himself. Quite something. You're still smiling? Aren't you ashamed? Such vulgar, scandalous things. If it were in my family, my brothers would have their legs broken. That's because your family has strict discipline. In some families, this wouldn't even count as a big deal. Besides, before you came for the marriage proposal, didn't you know what kind of man Wei Wuxian of Yunmengjiang family is? Surprised by this? But, how could he do that? Didn't you hear him? It's for performing the art in bed with his wife later. Nothing wrong at all, isn't that right? Haha, you're blushing. You're the shameless one. A girl saying that. What's wrong? We're all almost about to marry. This sort of thing will happen sooner or later, nothing shameful about it. If one marries a truly naive husband who knows nothing, how will the wedding night go? It's not that Wei Wuxian is unreasonable. A guy like second young master Lan, at that time, might not even find the place to perform the art in bed. You're shameless. The young ladies giggled and played in a whirl, while a white figure stood awkwardly by the wall, trapped between going and staying. Someone saw him and called out once. The group hurriedly moved aside, some sneaking peeks, wanting to laugh but not daring, wanting to tease but holding back, whispering and pointing in corners. Lan Wangji's face remained cold, pretending not to hear, and strode toward the ancestral hall. Inside, Wei Wuxian knelt crookedly, leaning lazily to one side. Just as he was about to enter, a voice came from inside. "Young Master Wei." Wei Wuxian answered happily, "Miss Mian?" Lan Wangji's steps halted. Wei Wuxian asked, "Did Miss Mian come to bring me medicine?" Mian replied, "Don't call me Mian. Only my mistress and the ladies call me that." Wei Wuxian asked, "If they call you that, why can't I?" Then tell me your real name, and I won't call you Mian Mian. Mian Mian said, Why would I tell you? Wei Wuxian. All right then. But Miss Mian Mian, you don't have to call me Young Master Wei or Wei Wuxian. The young guys don't call me that either. Mian Mian was curious. Then how do they call you? Wei Wuxian said, Actually, they all call me Yuan Dao. That's my real name. Mian Mian. Yuan Dao? Outside the ancestral hall, Lan Wangji sighed angrily. Playing with words. Wei Wuxian curiously looked around and saw a white-clad figure flicking his sleeves to leave. Lan Zhan? Lan Zhan, when did you come and why are you leaving again? Weren't you here to find me? Lan Wangji's fingers curled slightly as he put away a small white porcelain medicine bottle in his palm. No, without another word, he left without looking back. Mian Mian Mrs. Yuan Dao? Mian Mian softly muttered a line of poetry, blushing deeply, stamping her foot angrily. Wei Wuxian, you're teasing me. Here's the medicine, take it. As if something had struck Wei Wuxian's chest, he shouted dramatically, Hey, don't go, Miss Mian Mian, I'm joking. Don't leave so fast. Stay and chat with me. Mian Mian, no. Pulling her skirt, she ran off. Wei Wuxian called after her. Hey, Miss Mian Mian, Lan Zhan, leave one of you here. Why did both leave?